Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
I don't quite understand what it is that the tribe sees in him. We've discussed this before, that the rest of the nation doesn't. But the suggestion that Trident nuclear submarines don't have to have warheads on them, that's not, I've checked, that's not a misquote, it's not taking it out of context. He really has made the suggestion that one way to accommodate the loss of jobs that getting rid of Trident would cause would be to keep the submarines but just not have anything nuclear on them, not have any warheads on the missiles. Maybe I'm misunderstanding, but that seems to me to be pretty much at the top of the stupid tree.
And I have to say, Mr. Speaker, this week has all been of a piece, a retreat of the Labour Party into the past. We've seen it with wanting to bring back secondary picketing, with wanting to bring back flying pickets. We've seen it with the idea of stopping businesses paying dividends, and with the absurd idea that nuclear submarines should go to sea without their missiles.
Carl McCartney.
Thank you, Speaker. Does my right honourable friend agree with me that our nuclear deterrent only works against our nation's enemies if our nuclear submarines are actually equipped with nuclear missiles? And that those, such as the Leader of the Opposition, who do not believe this, have a defence policy inspired by the Beatles' Yellow Submarine, and shows that while the members opposite may twist and shout, their current leader certainly needs help.
I congratulate my honourable friend on his ingenious question. Look, there's a comic element to sending submarines to sea without missiles in, but in fact it is absolutely serious, because the deterrent has been, on a cross-party basis, an absolutely key part of our defence, and making sure we've got the ultimate insurance policy, which we support on this side and we should vote on in this House. And all I can say when it comes to Beatles songs, I suspect that the Leader of the Opposition prefers back in the USSR.
And you've said that some of the money that's going into the Trident programme now you would want to divert into new green technologies and so forth to soak up the employment then.
We're consulting on Trident at the moment. Emily Thornberry has drawn up a very interesting document to consider this, and that is out for consultation as of Friday. We're discussing that. The point I've always made, is that I recognise that if there's to be a change in the Trident programme, and I personally would want there to be a change in it, then the first priority has to be to protect those jobs, redirect investment into those yards and factories and companies that would be making material and systems to go with Trident, so that their jobs are protected and there's further investment in them. That's the first priority.
Because Len McCluskey, again, said yesterday, in fact, at the Scottish TUC that...
no, it was the Scottish Unite Conference.
Scottish Unite Conference, beg your pardon. That the policy of getting rid of Trident would, quote, devastate Barrow in Furness, devastate communities, devastate jobs, and he was wholly against it, clearly.
I've had that discussion with Len McCluskey. I've had that discussion with numbers of other people, and we'll be continuing to have those discussions. Other countries do things differently. We have amazing skills and amazing technology available in this country. Obviously, my instinct is that we should use it differently. My instinct is that greater security in the world is not achieved by nuclear weapons. It's achieved by addressing the causes of insecurity. And there are many people in the military who would agree with me on that. There are many people
in the Labour parties, you know, who don't. You gave
it's a debate within the party.
Sure,
it's not a secret.
Not a secret. You gave an interview to The Independent on Sunday today, in which you said, very interestingly, you said that actually Trident or not Trident wasn't necessarily a binary decision, an either-or decision. What did you mean by that?
Well, we don't know what proposal the government is going to make when the issue comes up to Parliament, whenever it comes up. That's not in my hands. There may well be a discussion on considering it further, because the government is in arguments about the cost of the whole program. The many in the military are very worried about the focus of so much expenditure on nuclear weapons when they actually are looking at more conventional issues and a more conventional role for the armed forces, and of course issues of insecurity around the world.
When you say it's not binary, is there an implication there that Jeremy Corbyn might support a reduction in Britain's nuclear deterrent without going the whole hog to complete ending it straight away?
You shouldn't read too much into one sentence of an interview. What I'm saying is we don't know what the proposal is the government's going to put. My views on nuclear weapons are very, very well known, and I want to see a nuclear-free world. I want to see us playing a full role in the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. I want to see a return to the ABM Treaty, the Ballistic Missile Treaty by Russia and the United States. I want to see a de-escalation in nuclear potentials around the world, and that surely is something we can all sign up to.
I sometimes wonder whether this whole Trident debate in the Labour Party is a nonsense, because we know, and you've said, that you would never press the button. And if you were a Labour Party Prime Minister, therefore there wouldn't be a nuclear deterrent, because it depends upon the Russians or the Iranians, whoever, thinking that you might use it.
No,
You've made it clear you won't. There's no deterrent there anyway.
The real issue is, are we going to play our part in the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty? The British government in May missed a huge opportunity there in many ways. I want to play a full part in the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which requires the 5 declared nuclear weapon states not to further develop their nuclear capability, and the 187 other countries that have signed it not to develop nuclear weapons. It's actually been, by and large, a very successful treaty.
But if we have these 4 huge submarines packed with nuclear weapons circling the globe, and a Prime Minister who has said, I will never, ever use them, then it's not really a deterrent anyway.
They don't have to have nuclear warheads on them.
Sure. So we could have Trident submarines without nuclear warheads, could we?
If we use a nuclear weapon, anybody uses a nuclear weapon, it is catastrophic for the whole globe.
Which is everybody
knows it's catastrophic. I don't believe David Cameron will use it either.
So you think the deterrent doesn't really exist as a deterrent anymore?
I think that the nuclear weapons system is something of the Cold War generation. I don't believe in the insecurities of today. Nuclear weapons are a solution to that. Look at the problems in the Middle East, elsewhere. Look at the disaster of 9/11 in New York in 2001. Were nuclear weapons any help in any of those? No, they were not. We have achieved a fantastic step forward with Iran. That surely is the way forward. Diplomacy comes first.
I have one final question on this, then I'll move on, which is, you suggested just now, one answer might be to keep the Trident submarines, but without nuclear weapons on board. Is that what you're saying?
There are options there. The paper that Emily Thornberry has put forward is a very interesting one. Deserves a very good study of it and read of it, and I hope there will be a serious, mature response to what is a very serious and hopefully mature debate about the nature of security and insecurity, the nature of the way in which we protect ourselves against insecurity, and we bring about a more secure world as a result.
I mean, the point for Jeremy Corbyn is that he has a mandate from the Labour Party to put forward these arguments. He had a 60% vote. It is very clear what Jeremy Corbyn thinks about nuclear weapons. He's been a member of CND since 1966, so he has a mandate. The challenge for Jeremy Corbyn is to put forward these ideas in a way that appeals beyond those new members of the Labour Party to the electorate as a whole who have concerns about security of the nation. For example, he's talking about possibly having the successor submarines in the Trident system without nuclear weapons. People look at that and say, well, what's that about? Actually, that's the Japanese system. They talk about how in Japan they have what is known as the bomb in the basement. They're a non-declared nuclear state, but they could sort of arm themselves with nuclear weapons within minutes if they needed to. So that's what he's talking about. Sounds good in the Labour Party, but he needs to sell that to the country as a whole.
By 1985, the Russians had 40,000 nuclear weapons pointing at the West, while America was packing 21,000 in return. In the UK, we had just 422 warheads, and a government with quaint plans for how we should behave if and when Armageddon arrived.
In this film, we've attempted to find out how many could survive a nuclear attack, what life would be like after such a catastrophe, and what's being done to help us survive. 3 days before the feared attack, the government will order the broadcasting authorities to transmit a series of official films. They've never been seen before and won't be seen again until nuclear war is imminent.
Here is a reminder of what the air attack warning sounds like. This is the sound. When you hear the attack warning, you and your family must take cover at once. Do not stay out of doors. If you are caught in the open, lie down. And now here is a reminder about fallout warnings. When fallout is expected, you will hear 3 bangs in short succession, like this. After an attack is over and the all clear has been sounded, arrangements will be made as soon as possible to treat any people who are ill or injured. Listen to your radio. Details will be given about what to do, when to do it, and how. If anyone dies while you are kept in your fallout room, move the body to another room in the house. Label the body with name and address, and cover it as tightly as possible in polythene, paper, sheets or blankets.
The government intends to print and distribute this booklet to every home in the country. But while the planners are banking on 3 weeks' warning of nuclear attack, Her Majesty's Stationery Office say it'll take at least 4 weeks just to print the booklet.
The film you're about to see shows what happens when a 1 megaton nuclear bomb explodes over central London. What can city dwellers do to protect themselves? We shall look firstly at the options open to a couple living in the North London suburb of Finsbury Park. Joy and Eric live at the southern end.
He's a musician. She works for a bank. What could they do for protection? Most of the booklet tells you how to shelter from the fallout that may follow an attack. These preparations took all day. There was a problem in finding enough heavy materials for the necessary shielding. There was no advice on blast protection. How would they survive at 3¼ miles? As far as heat is concerned, quite well. Although the paint on the windows will burn, the whitewash keeps 80% of the heat out. There may be fires in unprotected houses nearby, but Joy and Eric should survive, at least for 17 seconds.
After an all-out attack, how much of that complex world you now take for granted would still be there? Where would you go to find food when after 2 weeks you crawl out of your trench or your concrete bunker? It could be that your real problems will just be beginning.
The United States government has been forced, reluctantly, to take action to safeguard what it believes are legitimate Western interests in the Middle East. We are confident that the Soviet Union will take note of our resolve and will desist from its present perilous course of action.
There's growing evidence overnight from scientists and observers in many countries that there have been 2 nuclear explosions in the Middle East.
Hell.
I don't think that images like that would be broadcastable now. They're of such extremity, such ferocity, that there is no broadcaster who would be brave enough to show them. And it's not like nuclear weapons aren't here anymore. The Cold War is over, the bombs are all still there.